Christmas. It's the season of joy, twinkling lights, and heartwarming traditions. But have you ever stopped to wonder where these beloved customs come from? Why do we decorate a tree, hang stockings, or exchange gifts? Believe it or not, many of these traditions are wrapped in layers of ancient myths or pagan rituals. So, grab a cup of cocoa and get ready to uncover the surprising yet mystical origins of the traditions we adore. What do you know about Saturnalia and Yule? Long before Christmas, ancient cultures celebrated the winter solstice, the year's longest night. In the northern hemisphere, it falls on December 21st or 22nd. For many, it marked the sun's return. In some cultures, winter symbolized the sun's weakening, but the solstice was the turning point. It signified the sun's recovery and growing strength. Two major celebrations were Saturnalia in Rome and Yule in Norse culture. Saturnalia, held from December 17th to 23rd, honored Saturn, the god of agriculture. It was when slaves and masters swapped roles and everyone feasted and exchanged gifts. Yule, celebrated by ancient Norse and Germanic cultures, also marked the return of the sun. On December 21st, they burned Yule logs to light up the long nights. Others decorated trees with candles to honor their gods and celebrated with feasts, singing, and dancing. So why was December 25th chosen to celebrate Christmas? Now comes this big question. Well, the choice of this date is tied to a mix of tradition, history, and of course religion. So the exact date of Jesus' birth isn't known. In fact, early Christians didn't celebrate his birth at all. But by the 4th century, December 25th was chosen to honor it. Why this date? It coincided with the winter solstice, a time many cultures celebrated the rebirth of the sun. This wasn't a random choice. It was thoughtful and symbolic. Pope Julius I saw the solstice as a fitting metaphor for Jesus, the light of the world. This date also matched older traditions, like the Roman festival of Sol Invictus, which celebrated the return of the sun. Now, let's talk about the dark side of Christmas. Christmas wasn't always all jolly and festive. In fact, some pretty spooky myths tied to the holiday were sure to send toddlers straight to bed. Figures like Krampus, La Befana, and the Yule cat were part of the darker side of Christmas traditions. Krampus was perhaps the most infamous. In Alpine folklore, he's a fearsome creature who accompanies St. Nicholas on December 5th or 6th, during St. Nicholas Day or Eve. While St. Nicholas rewards well-behaved children with gifts, Krampus punishes the naughty ones. However, Krampus's role can vary by region. In some places, he's more of a figure to scare children into good behavior, while in others, he actively punishes them. The common theme is that Krampus is there to remind children to be good during the Christmas season. Then there was La Befana, the kind witch who visits children on Epiphany Eve. This Christian festival marks the end of the 12 days of Christmas. Legend says the 3 wise men once asked her for directions to see baby Jesus. She was too busy cleaning to help and later regretted it. Now she delivers gifts to good children and coal to the naughty ones. And how can we forget the Yule cat, a giant, terrifying creature from Icelandic folklore? This cat was said to roam the streets, threatening those who hadn't received new clothes by Christmas. If you didn't get any, the Yule cat might judge you as lazy or leave you out of the festivities. The Yule cat encouraged people to reward hard work and generosity by giving new clothes. Well, as for the Christmas trees, were they always so fancy? Believe it or not, this beloved tradition didn't start with a fancy ornament or a star on top. In the 15th century, guilds in northern Germany and Livonia began the tradition. Merchants in Tallinn and Riga would place a tree in their halls and decorate it with sweets for children to enjoy. As time went on, trees moved from guild halls to town squares. On the final night of Christmas celebrations, people would gather around, singing and dancing. In the 16th century, tree decorations got fancier. In Bremen, Germany, small trees were decorated with apples, nuts, dates, and pretzels. By the 17th century, Christmas trees began appearing in homes, especially among upper-class families in Germany. The tradition spread across Europe, with royal courts adopting it by the 1800s. In 1814, Princess Henrietta of Nassau-Weilburg helped make the Christmas tree tradition more popular in Vienna. Soon after, France and Denmark followed. The Christmas tree tradition made its way to the US through Hessian soldiers in 1781. Americans saw the British royal family's trees and embraced the custom. By the mid-1800s, Christmas trees were common in American homes. Today, they light up homes worldwide. Did you know Christmas trees were once banned? In 1929, the Soviet Union banned both Christmas trees and the entire holiday. Why? The government followed state atheism and didn't want religion involved in public life. Since Christmas was a Christian holiday, it didn't fit into their plans. Instead, they focused on celebrating New Year's. In 1935, they reintroduced trees, but they were now called New Year's trees as part of secular celebrations. The Christmas holiday itself remained banned until the fall of the Soviet Union. Do you want to learn about Yule logs, mistletoe, and holly? But what was so special about Yule logs? Why not any other logs? Yule logs weren't just regular pieces of wood. In Norse and Germanic traditions, there had to be huge oak logs that burned for days. Their purpose? To drive away the winter darkness. For many, the log's warmth symbolized hope during the darkest days. Today, this tradition lives on with chocolate Yule log cakes. Same idea, but much tastier. Mistletoe also played a key role in Christmas traditions. The Druids saw it as a magical plant symbolizing peace, protection, and fertility. They didn't just pick it up randomly. They harvested it with a special ritual. A high priest would climb an oak tree, use a golden sickle, and make sure the mistletoe never touched the ground. If it did, it would lose its magical powers. Mistletoe was then hung in homes to bring good luck. Holly was just as important. The Celts believed it protected against evil spirits. With its red berries and green leaves, it stayed vibrant in winter and became a symbol of everlasting life. In both pagan and Christian traditions, holly carried deeper meanings. It was associated with protection and good fortune, while in Christianity, it came to represent Christ's crown of thorns. Holly was seen as nature's way of spreading good vibes during dark days. No wonder it became a top winter decoration. Have you ever wondered how Santa Claus became the icon we know today? Trees, ornaments, and lights all make Christmas unforgettable. But you know what really takes the holiday to the next level? Our very own Santa Claus. The Santa we know today, jolly, red-suited, and with a belly that shakes like a bowl of jelly, has a fascinating history. It starts with Saint Nicholas, a 4th century Greek bishop from Myra, now Turkey. As the story of St. Nicholas spread across Europe, it evolved. In Holland, he became known as Sinterklaas, a shortened form of Sint Nicholas. Dutch immigrants brought the legend to 17th century New Amsterdam, where it began to take on new forms. British traditions also played a part, where Father Christmas was a more cheerful, festive figure linked to holiday fun and celebrations. In 1809, Washington Irving helped shape the modern Santa by using the name Santa Claus in his book Knickerbocker's History of New York. He translated the Dutch Sinterklaas into English, shaping Santa's identity. Santa's image continued to evolve, thanks to artists like Thomas Nast in the late 1800s. Nast gave us the iconic jolly old elf riding a sleigh with reindeer and delivering gifts on Christmas Eve. Reindeer and sleighs were born. It began with Clement Clarke Moore's famous poem A Visit from St. Nicholas in 1823. In this poem, Santa zips through the sky in a sleigh pulled by 8 reindeer. This image was so magical that it stuck with us forever. But how did reindeer get involved? The story goes back to Dutch traditions, where Sinterklaas delivered presents via a horse. However, American author Washington Irving had St. Nicholas riding over rooftops in a wagon. A year later, in 1824, a booklet by William Gilley introduced reindeer into the scene, and Santa's sleigh ride was born. But why reindeer? Well, in Northern Europe, reindeer were mystical creatures often used by the Laplanders to pull sleds. They felt magical and made perfect sense for Santa's journey. The star of the Christmas tree. The Star of Bethlehem, now placed atop Christmas trees, symbolizes Christmas's deep roots in Christianity. According to the Gospel of Matthew, a star appeared in the sky when Jesus was born. This star, called the Star of Bethlehem, guided the wise men from the east to Jesus in Bethlehem. It remains a shining reminder of the joy and light Jesus brought. And that's why we still place a star on our Christmas trees today. And finally, why do we exchange gifts? Apart from the Star of Bethlehem, giving gifts is another tradition that ties Christmas to Jesus' birth. Gift-giving at Christmas has existed for centuries, with roots in both Christian and pre-Christian customs. It started with the three wise men who brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh to honor the birth of Jesus. As mentioned in the Bible, these gifts were symbolic offerings for a king. Over time, giving gifts became a way to celebrate Christmas and honor the spirit of giving. However, gift-giving also has deeper roots in older traditions like the Roman Saturnalia. During this midwinter festival, people exchanged gifts for good luck and goodwill for the coming year. Over time, these traditions mixed, with the story of the Magi adding a Christian meaning to an already existing custom in many cultures. Want to stay on the nice list and uncover even more spooky tales and festive secrets? Then subscribe and head to our channel. Or else you might find coal in your stocking, or worse, the Yule cat may just pay you a visit.